All right, welcome back to the channel, Fanon's International Boxing Channel. Man. Tevin Farmer. Miss Farmer. You got your whooped by JoJo Diaz, man. And I knew it was coming. That was just a bad matchup for Tevin Farmer, man. And then on top of it, Tevin Farmer just did so many things, man, that made it even harder on him in that fight. So he lost his belt. JoJo Diaz, like I thought, was going to make it hard for Tevin Farmer to slip and, dodge and slip and look cute defensively and then come back and land a couple shots because JoJo Diaz punches in combinations, man. JoJo Diaz cuts the ring off. He cuts the ring off fairly well. He leads. It's a southpaw and a southpaw matchup. So Tevin Farmer's not used to fighting southpaws. JoJo Diaz just had a fight. It was last year with one of the best southpaws in boxing in Gary Russell Jr., who fights in a similar style to Tevin Farmer. Fast hands, very sound defensively, but better than Tevin Farmer. So pretty much, in my opinion, this was a step down fight for a championship belt against Tevin Farmer, and he had a more difficult one in his pretty much one-sided loss to Gary Russell Jr. So I figured pretty much, that was how this fight was going to play out, and that is how the fight played out. JoJo Diaz would start up top. He'd start up top and then finish at the body. Other times he finished in the body. He started at the body and finished up top, but he was working Tevin Farmer's body from the very beginning. For some reason, Tevin Farmer decided that he needed to get in close and push JoJo Diaz back. And his trainer was saying, he can't do anything when you push him back. But that wasn't true. He was landing a lot of shots when Tevin Farmer was trying to stand in there and fight with him. Just all around, just a very, very odd approach that Tevin Farmer and his team took to that fight. But I don't necessarily think that that's the main reason why he looked he looked bad last night. You fighting 5 times a year. You will get worn out fighting 5 times a year. You're fighting a fresh fighter. You fight 2-3 times a year. I understand that, but man, Tevin Farmer, and this is an observation that they made in the telecast, was that, you're fighting you defended your title 5 times already within a year. I know you're stacking that dough, but you also putting a lot of miles on your legs for those training camps. And he just didn't look fresh. However, I don't think that in and of itself is the reason why he didn't beat JoJo Diaz. I just think JoJo Diaz is a bad style matchup for him, man. I could compare it in the video that I did about it, where I was saying, he's going to lose to JoJo Diaz, is the Floyd Mayweather Jr. Jose Luis Castillo deal, where fight, the comparison that I made, man, where it's like, look, if he can pressure and stay on top of Tevin Farmer like Jose Luis Castillo did to Floyd Mayweather Jr. in their fight, he's going to beat Tevin Farmer. And the difference between Tevin Farmer and Floyd Mayweather Jr. is this: Floyd Mayweather Jr. has enough pop on his punches to keep you off of him. Tevin Farmer does not. Tevin Farmer does not have the physical strength. He doesn't have the punching power to keep somebody away from him, even a guy that's moving up in weight. But the idea that JoJo Diaz, who was moving up in weight, was at a big size disadvantage against Tevin Farmer, I don't even think that was true, because JoJo Diaz looked like he was really sucking himself dry, making 126 pounds. So no, man, I just thought that was a bad, all the way around a bad situation. Also, I do believe that if Lou DiBella had the choice, he wouldn't have made that fight. But now we see Why? And Gervonta Davis was laughing at him, dog. Gervonta Davis put the laugh emojis up there. He said, screenshot this. This is easy work. That's what Tevin Farmer put on his Twitter. Says, screenshot this. JoJo Diaz early easy work. And then Gervonta Davis put that same tweet, retweeted it, and saying with the laugh on it, man. He was talking about, man, don't walk out there with them glasses, because Tevin Farmer had these crazy looking glasses on, sunglasses in the locker room, man. Tevin Farmer was feeling himself. He's playing the part, man. But that was not gonna work well. So anyway, as far as the Gervonta Davis fight with Tevin Farmer, anybody under the delusion that Tevin Farmer was going to stay awake for a whole fight with Gervonta Davis, I hope that you have been freed from your illusion, okay? I hope that you have seen that there ain't no way on it, because that JoJo Diaz was not going to put the same type of work on him that Gervonta Davis is. Gervonta Davis is a much harder puncher than JoJo Diaz. He also punches in combination. He's gonna go to the body. He's gonna go to the body on you. He's gonna jab. A straight right hand is just as more nasty. He's gonna wind up stopping Tevin Farmer, and that's why Tevin Farmer and Lou DiBella chose to not take that $2 million and take 5 fights at $500,000. He said, nah, we can take the $2 million for this, or we can take 5 or 6 fights for $500,000. Let's take the 6 fights for $500,000 and just get them all done. Because then maybe you still, at the end of that, you could get out of there and get the $2 million deal. But man, that's gone. But he being Tevin Farmer, does have a rematch clause. So hopefully this is what Tevin Farmer will do. Tevin Farmer will take off at least 6 months. Take 6 months off, okay, and have the rematch in 6 months. Let your body recover. Rest, okay? Rest. Keep jogging, do light workouts, keep your weight in order. Whatever you got to get a strength and conditioning coach, Yeah, go hire Mimo Heredia. I don't know if they can afford it over there at man, I shouldn't be cracking DiBella Entertainment jokes, man, but hey man, get you a good strength and conditioning coach. Come back a little stronger, come back fresh, come back being able to move, and stick a hard jab on that dude. Stick a hard double jab up top, double up your jabs, but make them sharp, make them crisp. Jab, right hand, and get out, dude. You're gonna have to do something on JoJo Diaz like Anthony Joshua did to Andy Ruiz. You're gonna have to play and really believe that you are the slick fighter. The first fight, he came in there with the Leonard, the Ray Leonard Duran one approach, which was, hey man, I'm gonna beat this guy moving and weight up and show him that I'm the big guy. He's coming up from 126 to 130. I'm gonna show him that I'm the big guy. Nah, that didn't work with Sugar Ray Leonard and Duran. Okay, what worked was the second one. He's like, okay, now you're not gonna hit me. Now I'm gonna jab you. I'm gonna piece you up. I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna get out. Hopefully you can catch JoJo Diaz slipping, eating a couple too many tamales and get your belt back. I don't see it happening, but there is a possibility that it could happen. Also, man, hey, stay away from Miguel Burchelt if you're gonna fight like that. Anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, we're out. Double deuces. All right, welcome back to the channel, Phenom International Boxing Channel. And Michael Buffer, hey man, I don't like everything that he says, but he lights into Tyson Fury on this Lineal champion stuff and points out, like I've been pointing out, Tyson Fury is not the Lineal champion. He is not the Lineal champion. That he is the ex-ring champion. Michael Buffer points out something about Vladimir Klitschko. He points out something about Lennox Lewis. His argument for why it's not the case is slightly different than mine, but it is an alternative argument that is just as valid. Let's talk about this myth of Tyson Fury's Lineal champion and what Michael Buffer had to say about it in this video. All right. Michael Buffer said, man, stop with all this Lineal garbage. Okay. Tyson Fury's not the Lineal champion. Vladimir Klitschko was not the Lineal champion. The last Lineal champion was Lennox Lewis, and it didn't go to Vlad Klitschko because Vladimir Klitschko, according to Michael Buffer, and this is my opinion as well, was Vladimir Klitschko was never the undisputed champion in boxing. Never. Okay. And he was fighting at the same time that Vitaly Klitschko was fighting when they gave him the ring title. And the boxing media is trying to conflate the Ring Magazine title with the Lineal title. Okay. And we'll walk through it again, because just because a whole bunch of people say something doesn't make it right. Okay. People told you all the time when you were a kid, there's millions of kids all over the United States that believe that some big fat dude with a beard climbed down a chimney that they don't even have nor use into their apartment and dropped off presents. Okay. Just because there's a million kids that believe that doesn't make it true. Before we get into that though, shout out to everybody that supports the channel in the live streams Monday through Friday with OG Boxing Talk, and to the people that join in the channel members and everybody that is supporting over there at Patreon. You guys made this last year a tremendous success for Phenom International Boxing, and we are truly, truly, truly grateful to you and the whole LDBC for continuing to support. Now, so Michael Buffer's thing is this. Vladimir Klitschko never even claimed that he was a Lineal champion. He never walked into the ring and they said, "Oh, Vladimir Klitschko, the WBA champion, WBA and IBF and WBO and Lineal champion." Never did it. Okay, never did it. I watched several fights with Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis never walked in the ring. The WBC and the WBA and the IBF world and Lineal champion. Never did it. Never did it. I've watched introductions to Muhammad Ali. Never heard WBA, WBC, and Lineal champion. Never heard it. Never heard it. Vladimir Klitschko. Never heard it. Okay? Never heard it. Because they never said it. Because it was not something that people walked in the ring and claimed that they were fighting for. This is something that is just a boxing nerd deal where you're trying to compare two guys that have belts and say, okay, who's the real champion? Okay, well, let's track the man that beat the man to see between the two of them who the real champion is. But here's the issue, okay? You can do that when you have, well, actually, that is very difficult to do because it's going to be your opinion. At this point, with Vladimir Klitschko, it was just who got to decide, who gets to set the criteria up when you're deciding between two guys where both guys have claims, right? Well, he beat the guy that was the last undisputed champion. That's fair. That's fair. Who beat the guy that was the last undisputed champion? That's fair because that's something that a boxer does in the ring. But what happens when neither guy has fought the last undisputed fighter, which is the case with Lennox Lewis? Vladimir Klitschko never fought him. Vitaly Klitschko fought him and lost. So how do you then become the next guy that is without a doubt the champion in that division? Well, one way is you become the undisputed champion. You win all the belts. You make sure there are no other champions in the division. You clean out the division. And once you clean out the division, you're the only guy that has a stake in the championship. You are the champion. That's the most obvious way to do that. And that's what Michael Buffer is pointing out. Vitaly Klitschko never did that. And that's because he was fighting, because the guy that held the WBC belt, and go to BoxRec on this. Go to BoxRec and look up the date that Vladimir Klitschko became the Ring Magazine champion. Vladimir Klitschko became the Ring Magazine champion in 3 months after, and that was in a fight against Ruslan Shagayev. And those are the people, that's the fight that people claim made Vladimir Klitschko the lineal champion. That's the fight that they claim did it. Go look at the date of that fight. You will see that fight between Ruslan Shagayev and Vladimir Klitschko, who they claim were the number 1 and number 2 heavyweights in the world at the time, was 3 months after Vitaly Klitschko fought somebody and had for the WBC championship. And it was 3 months before Vitaly Klitschko's next fight. So Vitaly Klitschko fought, I forget the dates off the top of my head, but say Vitaly Klitschko fought in March. Vladimir Klitschko won the Lineal Championship in June while Vitaly Klitschko was still the champion by beating somebody named Ruslan Shagayev. And then 3 months after that, Vitaly Klitschko fought somebody else. So how could Vladimir Klitschko be the champion, be the lineal champion, if he didn't fight Vitaly Klitschko, who held the WBC belt and who obviously was a better fighter than Ruslan Shagayev? What happened was Ring Magazine wanted to name a champion. So they put their belt on the line, their belt, which ain't a belt. It's a designation. It's not a championship. It's a designation from a magazine. They put that on the line when Ruslan Shagayev fought Vladimir Klitschko. And then because their belt is supposed to be, and watch this word, an approximation of the lineal championship line, people started confusing the two and said Vladimir Klitschko was the lineal. He was never the lineal because he never fought Vitaly Klitschko. He was never the undisputed champion. There's no reason to say Vladimir Klitschko was the champion. If Vladimir Klitschko wanted to be the lineal champion or the undisputed champion, he would have had to have fought. He would either had to have beaten Vitaly Klitschko, he would have had to beat Bermane Stiverne, or he would have had to beat Deontay Wilder to become the undisputed champion and be, based on what he did in the ring, the only guy that could be considered a champion. He would have had to fight any one of those three. But what people are giving him credit for is having fought Ruslan Shagayev because they said, oh, Ruslan Shagayev was the number 3 guy. You had the number 1 guy and the number 3 guy fight, and they fought, so therefore they're the lineal by consensus. Okay, first of all, who named Vladimir Klitschko number 1? Who named Ruslan Shagayev number 3? That's the opinion of boxing writers. That's the opinion of boxing insiders. That's the opinion of boxing pundits or boxing or fighters or trainers. That's how that comes to be. Sorry, my wife stuck her head in real quick. I lost my train of thought. That's how that came to be. That did not come to be because it happened between 2 people in the ring. And the only way you can win a championship of any type is in the ring. In the ring. That is, and not in the Ring Magazine, in the actual ring. And that, my friend, did not happen with Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko never claimed it. Now, and as I pointed out early, none of these other champions ever walked in the ring saying that's what they were walking in the ring doing. Tyson Fury is the first and only person to tout that as them being a champion. It is a marketing ploy. That is all it is. And it confuses boxing fans because you think that you're having some type of unification fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. You're not. The only champion walking into the ring in that fight is Deontay Wilder. That is the only champion. And you are actually diminishing Deontay Wilder's accomplishment by following this line of nonsense that is coming from Ring Magazine. And people say, well, Ring Magazine has been along for so long and they've got this great opinion. And yes, it's been around a long time. They have people out there that love this, that work for Ring Magazine, who are intelligent guys. I'm sure intelligent women work for there that love the sport of boxing, that are knowledgeable about the history of boxing. They've got people that contribute that are knowledgeable about what goes on in the sport of boxing, in the ring, the technique. They have their opinion is as valid as anybody else's opinion. But at the end of the day, it's just their opinion. Their title is not something that actually exists in the world of boxing. That is no more, it might carry more weight in the opinion of more people than the Fanon International Boxing Champion would, but still, that would be our opinion versus their opinion. But when two people get into the ring and they fight, it's not a matter of opinion, it's a matter of the actual unless you're talking about the opinion of the judges. But those opinions are accounted for in the rules. Anyway, just had to do that again. Shout out to Michael Buffer for talking that talk and saying that, because he's 100% right. It's just a bunch of malarkey. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section. Also, do not forget to subscribe if you listened all the way through. And to my subscribers, thank you so much for listening all the way to the end of the video. And with that, we're out. Peace.